Hey guys, welcome into the show. My name is Tyler Kluver. I'm a former Division One athlete. I now run a fitness coaching business as well as a sports media brand that creates podcasts, sells merchandise, and creates other exclusive content. This show is a place for me to document my thoughts on fitness, health, nutrition, maybe some business or mindset stuff, as well as update anyone listening on my own competitive fitness endeavors and life events. I want everybody that comes and listens to this show to take something away that can make their life better, whether it's a diet or fitness tip or a way of thinking about things that motivates you to be better in your own life. Hopefully we can get that done, but regardless, I'm glad you're here. Let's have a day. Let's go. Busy Monday. Welcome to the show, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up this week. You could be new this week because I might actually use this as one of the few episodes that I pump out there as something that, that I promote on actually promote on my social medias. I rarely talk or mention this podcast, mostly because I'm embarrassed about it. I don't This is a very unpolished thing. It's me talking at a camera, looking at myself on a podcast software once a week for about 30 minutes. And it is very much so just meant to be that. It's just, hey, I like the sound of my own voice. I don't get to talk about fitness stuff very often, other than with my one on one clients. I have a few of those at this time. I get to answer a couple questions from friends or family every once in a while, but I have a ton of knowledge, personal experience, thoughts, opinions, advice on all things fitness related. And so this is where we do that here at the Snap Podcast. Welcome in if it's your first time or if it's one of the first few episodes that you've listened to. We are on our way to 200 here. I think this is 181 or 182, something like that. Sort of crazy. I started this back in right before COVID started, and I've basically been doing one a week since then, which there you go. That's almost 200 episodes. We did take a couple breaks here, and then I disappeared for 3 months at one point. Came back. This podcast will never die. It'll always be living. We try to do it on a once weekly basis. And so here we are. The idea is, again, for those that are, maybe like, hey, what is this? They're coming to this for the first time. This is a place where I can talk about fitness topics, right? When I started this and I started to do one-off episodes, it would be like, hey, here's why you should drink water. Here's why hydration is important. Here's why um here's why, or I think I did a whole series on carbs, proteins, fats. Like each one of these episodes is just a short little ditty. My thoughts on, probably shouldn't say ditty anymore with the recent, with his stuff, but um, short little thoughts on singular topics within the fitness space. It also provides me, and this is sort of why I don't promote it, as a way to process and just sort of talk about my own self centered pursuits within the fitness competitive space, which for me is CrossFit. I know exactly what everybody wants to do with their time is get on a YouTube video or a podcast, listen to some bald 30-year-old talk about his CrossFit competitions, right? If you happen to be a fan of me or the content I put out or the podcast, the other podcasts I do with Hawkeye football, then maybe you're bought in enough like, hey, you can fit this in, you can 2x or 3x speed it on like Spotify, and it was like 10 to 15 minutes of your week. I do think I put out some really good stuff here. I think the ultimate expression of this is I bring people in, they get to listen to some topics, they get to get some opinions or some ideas about fitness and nutrition that they haven't heard before. And then maybe if you really get into fitness and health and you're trying to change your routine or whatever, you jump on the TKG programming, which is my everyday programming that I put out. Again, another thing I don't promote a lot, but I have workout programming that goes out every single day. It's 15 to 20 to 30 minutes a day. All you need is a pair of dumbbells and some effort at your house, and you can get in some pretty world-class fitness if you just put forth an effort, and about $18 a month. It's very cheap. And it's written for you. You don't have to think about it. It will put you out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to do some things, some workouts, some movements, some workout structures that you do not necessarily like, but that is what creates adaptation is stimulus that you are foreign to. So there you go. 5 minutes into the podcast. Hopefully all that explanation makes sense. If you have any questions about that, hit me up, tylerkluver.com to find that everyday programming. Of course, you can also just hit me up on that website or any of my socials for one-on-one coaching as well. That's where we customize everything. Today's episode, title says it, probably what I used it to promote it, is why you should build a why did I sound like Donald Trump when I started? You should build a home gym, the biggest home gym, maybe the best. Why you should build a home gym. Why you should work out at home. There's a caveat to this. I immediately think of our number one stan here, Cade, probably our best, most consistent listener of this show, and all-around follower of Washed Up Walk-Ons and everything. Guys like him, believe he's still a college student, young guy, someone, and this could be you. You don't have to be a college student, but if you're into bodybuilding, traditional sort of splits, like, hey, I'm going to do chest and tris on Monday and back and buys on Tuesday, legs Wednesday with some abs. If you're going to split it up like that and you really enjoy that kind of traditional lifting, sort of circa 2005 Steve Cook, big man on campus kind of thing, you're going to require more equipment than you're going to be able to fit in your house unless you have like 30 acres of land and a big Morton building that you just can build out a traditional gym with and a bunch of machines, right? This is more functional fitness, which is my jam. Someone who's not looking, he doesn't need a bunch of machines. You're just trying to get the heart rate up a little bit and do a little bit of lifting, right? And you don't care how that lifting happens. So if you're, there are caveats, but this is going to work for 80 to 90% of people. If you can just accept that the result will be great fitness, you just have to sort of dial in the inputs. So why I think you should build a home gym. We're going to do a longer episode on this because as I started to just put some general quick notes down to do a quick 15-minute episode here, I started to think, wow, this would actually be a great little series of if I was going to build a home gym, which I have one, what would I start with? What would the brands and specific models of different equipment be? The barbells, the dumbbells, the medicine balls, the bumper plates. Where would I go? What would be the brands that I would buy? What would I buy first? Right. And we're going to do a little bit of that here with maybe the top 3 or 4 things that you should buy in order to start your home gym to be the most effective and be able to get the most done. Right. Uh, Deeper topic of discussion is why you should start a home gym and why I think it's actually the most financially smart and efficient thing you can do. Not just financially efficient, but time efficiency. Um, Again, I could do a whole 15. I probably have within these 180 episodes. I've probably done why you should build your home gym episode. I need to revamp that and really build it out and do it a good service. Like, hey, here's 20 to 30 minutes of everything you need to know about a home gym. But I'll just start by saying, when you build a home gym, you take out a lot of the excuses that your self-conscious is going to give you as to why you can't do something. Oftentimes, the reason that we struggle to stay consistent as humans, as people in society, with the way that life works nowadays, is we're too tired, we don't have enough time, um, or we don't have the what we would call what I would call the right financial approach to your exercise and health. This home gym, in a way, really takes away all of that, right? Like, specifically the time thing. If you have to drive 10 or 15 minutes to the gym, or you have to do it on the way home from work, or what, you're doing at another location, which is going to require you getting there and getting home. That's eating up time where you're just driving. You no longer have that. You walk out to the garage or you walk down to the basement. Boom, problem solved. 2, financially, you're going to be tied to a gym that at any point, if you decide to stop your membership at that gym or whatever it costs, you've gotten nothing but the time that it allows you to just be in there, right? That you're renting that equipment essentially with your membership. You have no ownership or equity in that arrangement. Whereas if you start to build out your own home gym, you now own that equipment. And I know that may not be a big thing for some of y'all, but gym equipment is one of the best resale items out there. The price for used gym equipment is really, really pretty high. The margin between brand new gym equipment and used gym equipment, assuming that you take general good care of it, the resale price is very high. You're talking like 70, 80% of brand new value you can get out of it. So at any time, you can make your money back. Probably if you just want to say screw it and sell all your stuff. Um, and again, you're spending money to either buy equipment, which you actually don't need very much, or you're spending money on a membership. Either way, you're going to be spending money. Why not own your fitness experience instead of rent it? And then finally, like you're tired, whatever. Again, that's like, okay, I'm tired. I got to wake up 15 or 20 minutes earlier to get my stuff together so I can go to the gym. No longer, right? You just have to walk downstairs. You just have to. It takes some of that effort out of the ordeal, right? So it cuts down on that excuse as well. I think it's a great way. Every time I look at my home gym, which is over the top, overbuilt, not a place that 95% of people are going to get to, right? I'm a fitness fanatic. It's part of my job. So, like, literally part of the expense of me doing my daily career is to build out my gym and be able to have that for fitness needs. I think I ran them. Well, I have the numbers on a spreadsheet somewhere because I have a whole home gym Excel sheet. I think my home gym is approaching $7,000 worth of equipment. Most of that coming with in 3 machines. One of them's a Peloton that I'm pretty sure we spent, mm, what was it, 12 or $1,400 on. Um, I bought a Concept 2 rower for $1,000. I think it ended up being closer to 1,100 with shipping, and a Echo Bike, which is, I think, $900 with shipping. So you put all that together and you're sitting at 3,500 bucks, or close to it, and that's half of the money I've spent on the gym. You don't need any of those big machine pieces of equipment, right? The other $3,500 is split between bumper plates, bars, floor matting for the gym, collars, bands, medicine balls, dumbbells, a bench, jump ropes, like pull-up bars, rings, all these things that are, relevant to CrossFit functional fitness. You don't need all of that, right? You only need a couple pieces of equipment. And in reality, you can get very, very fit if you just did, like, the end all be all marker here is if you just wanted to do lunges, dips, push-ups, squats, burpees, handstand push-ups, wall walks, all the body weight movements that you can get very strong with and build some decent muscle with if you haven't, really been working out. If you just wanted to do all those body weight movements plus running, you could get extremely fit, fitter than 95% of people out there. So you don't have to spend money at all, right? There's really no excuse. But nonetheless, you can take about 500 bucks um and build a really, really well thought out equipment list that pretty much hits everything. And even with like $200, you're about to see here as I roll through it, you can get a pretty good experience. So here's how I would start building out a home gym. This is just quick thoughts because this is not going to be the extended episode of this. But here are my steps. I'd start with a pair of dumbbells, right? Again, we mentioned you already have body weight movements, you can already run. So that you can put together a lot of different workouts using, body weight stuff, running, and if you add a pair of dumbbells, you can really start to do a lot of things. You can now do pretty much every lift you want. Now, again, with only one pair of dumbbells, one weight, right? It's going to be tough to do. You can't go up in weight. You can't go heavier and you can't do, lower strength sets. You're going to have to do whatever set makes it hard for you to like get through a set with, I don't know, it could be 12 reps, could be 20 reps. Ideally, you'd want to buy a semi moderate weight so that you don't have to do a million reps to get a good workout. Um, But I would actually start with two sets of dumbbells, right? I would get something that's very heavy for you, a pair of dumbbells that is heavy, something to do deadlifts with, squats with, some of the bigger movements, right? Farmer carries, walking lunges, those kinds of things. Stuff that you probably are using your lower body for, right? And then I would get a moderate set, something that you could it's probably something that you could bench for 10 to 15 reps, and you can use that for overhead press, dumbbell swings, um, bench press, uh, rows, different stuff like that. Um, a heavy set and a moderate set. And if you got those off of Amazon, 2 sets of dumbbells. Dumbbells are unfortunately kind of expensive. You're probably going to drop somewhere between $100 and $200 on those 2 sets of dumbbells. But if you have a set of dumbbells or 2 sets of dumbbells really, the ability to run and the ability to do a body weight movements, boy, I could put together workouts for you for eternity. And in fact, I do. TylerCluver.com, TKG Training. If you want to go past that, that's step 1, dumbbells, right? If you want to go past that, the next thing I would get is actually a cheap step, and it's you can add in stuff like a medicine ball or a set of bands, right? You see the set of bands, you can get one for like 20, $25 on Amazon. Um, TRX straps that you can attach to a door, stuff that you can create leverage with that is not very expensive. You can create tension. The TRX straps, there's a bunch of different movements you can do where you kind of lean into those straps. They are body weight, but it's stuff you can't really do with just your body weight. And then bands are obvious. You can do a bunch of the smaller movements that you would in that traditional bodybuilding sense: front raises, side raises, tricep overhead extension, any pressing that you can't do with the heavier dumbbells that you have. Those 3 things, bands, TRX straps, or medicine balls, would be really high bang for buck as a second step to your gym. If you're going to go to a third step, I would say a pull up bar. All right. Pull up bar adds a whole bunch of stuff in that you can't do. One of the biggest is an upper body pull motion to work on your back and your lats. Um, you just can't really do if you buy the bands, you can do some rowing, right? You stand on the band and row it up. You can row the dumbbells, but there's just not you're not going to be able to hit that exact movement without a pull-up bar. It's probably the most classic piece of workout equipment there is. It's like Rocky, right? You can run and do pull-ups, you know? You can get a pull-up bar nowadays, a very high quality one. I just looked, titanfitness.com sells one for like $65, $70. It's the exact same one that I do pull-ups and muscle ups on every single day in my garage. It'll hold up. The issue is you're going to have to lag bolt that into your garage, like a wall in your garage, but I'm sure you have space. And if you don't, there's one that Rogue sells, a little higher quality, little couple more dollars, so sort of that $125 to $150 range that can literally go above a door frame. You could put it down in your basement or whatever, out of the way, you won't even notice it's there. And you can get a really, really high quality pull-up bar and workout out of that. Aside from that, you can hook bands to a pull-up bar and create a bunch of options. And you not only now have pull-ups, but if you grab onto that pull-up bar, you can do knee raises, leg raises, toes to bar, all kinds of things like that. That would be step 3. If you want to go for step 4 and you're starting to really buy in to this idea of like, okay, I'm building out my home gym, this is what I like to do, I would at that point start saving for a machine, right? And this sort of blends in with as step 4 with step 5. They're kind of coinciding. If you're starting to get, because now we're starting to spend a little bit more money. If you're starting to really buy into this fact that like, okay, I'm a home gym guy now. Like I really want to, I'm bought into this idea that I'm just going to create my own space. It's going to depend on how much space you physically have. A rower or an air bike is the machine that I would get. An Echo bike, an assault bike, or an Echo rower or an assault rower. Um, those are or Concept 2 rower. Those are going to take up a little bit of a footprint in whatever space you have. And if you're working in a garage, or a basement space or a bonus room, you're going to start to take up a little bit of space here. If you have the space, I would start saving up for a rower, an air bike, slash a barbell and bumper plates. Now, if you don't have any more space, but you've bought into this idea, you no longer have a gym membership, you're working out at home, you have a routine, um, and you're starting to build this sort of monthly money. And the way I think about this is, say your gym membership is $40 or $50 a month. And that is probably cheap nowadays. If you're going, that's probably like a YMCA type level. If you're going to a nice gym, like I think about a Lifetime Fitness here in Des Moines that's down the road, or any CrossFit gym, or any other, functional fitness space, training, hybrid training space, you're probably paying upwards of 100 or more. If you're not spending that money on the monthly membership, then you can sort of think of that as, okay, this is my allowance. Like, you should allow yourself a health allowance each month. Part of your income should be spent towards your health. If you're not spending it on a gym membership, don't think of that as like, oh, now I'm saving that money. You should still be investing that into your health. Use the $50, $100 a month, save it up. Fuck, put it in an envelope if you have to, like an old, like you tell your kids to save their allowance each month to buy a toy. Um, that 50 or $100 will build up over 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Now you have 300, 400, $500. I would start to use that money once it's saved up a little bit on heavier dumbbells if you do not have the space to add barbells and plates. If you have the space, get a decent barbell, $200 to maybe $300. Bumper plates, the average person for most strength movements can get a set of bumper plates for about $400. I understand we're starting to get into the higher dollar amounts now, but if you're building out a home gym and you put in $700 to a bumper plate set and a barbell, you spent a couple $100 on some bands and some dumbbells, you now have a ton of, and a pull-up bar. You've now spent around $1,000, right? If you have $100 membership to the gym, you're gonna spend $1,200 in a year, right? So basically, over the course of a year, if you can build up this equipment, you've now spent the same amount of money. You own all of that equipment, and it's sitting right down in your basement or in your garage. So, again, start with dumbbells, then add some cheaper stuff like bands, straps, or a medicine ball. Throw up a pull-up bar. Pull-up bar might be like 2A and 2B with the cheaper stuff. Then 3A and 3B is dependent upon your space, save for a big a rower or an air bike or a barbell and bumper plates. Or if you don't have the space, start building up your options for heavier dumbbells. Try and get 5 or 6 or 7 different sets so that you can do all kinds of movements and you have options on how heavy you can go. There's more to that, but that is my general idea on what I would do for building out a home gym. Again, I think I really like this topic of diving into each of those pieces of equipment and talking about brands, quality, bang for buck kind of thing. If you like that sort of stuff, Garage Gym Reviews, I watch one of his videos every single day, probably just because he reviews basically every single piece of fitness equipment that comes out, and he ranks them, and he does great stuff over on his YouTube channel, Garage Gym Reviews. That's about it. At this point, I'm going to start talking about myself for those that came for the main show, the main topic. But this is sort of what I do. I end the podcast talking about some personal things. Right now, we're talking about tracking numbers for myself as far as how many calories and grams of protein I've been eating, and sort of my personal body weight goals there. We're in the middle of a qualifier competition that I'm trying to qualify for in February, which is in Charleston, South Carolina, and then a little disc golf update, a little hobby update on my disc golfing. Tracking numbers, all the same, pretty much eating the same. 4,200 calories a day average, averaging about 9,000 steps a day, and I'm averaging somewhere between 210 and 220 grams of protein per day. Been doing that for about a month, a little over a month at this point, and essentially what that has given me is, I'm in a slight surplus, about 4,200 calories is 200 calories, 2 to 300 calories over what my BMR is probably. So we're talking like 3,900, 4,000 resting, not resting, but what I burn each day. And that is exactly where we want to be. We currently are waking up each day with the goal of a slight bulk. And so in about 4 weeks, 5 weeks, we've put on 2 pounds of what I think and hope is muscle should be if we're doing it right. So that's that. We're going to keep going. Goal is to get to 205, put on another 2 to 3 pounds of solid muscle, and then we might do a small cut down to the mid 190s to upper 190. We'll see. I'm not sure where we're going with that. As far as the qualifier, we're doing the fittest of the coast qualifier right now. Last week's episode was all about me taking a chance on myself and believing in the work that I put in each and every single day, and it paid off. I definitely took a chance on myself. We came out hot. We got top 40 in this qualifier, which has people in it from all over the country in part A of last week's workout, which was a two-parter. Kind of blew myself up for the second part. Still placed okay, like 90th in the second part. Jumped up from 170th position all the way up to 96th in this qualifier in the individual standings. And that's more for my ego and just sort of see where I'm at in the off season right now. The one I really care about and the one I will be competing in if we go down to Charleston is, and that's the plan, is my partner and I, we're doing the partner competition. Our scores are currently good for 36th and 48 teams qualify. So we jumped up 20 spots from the 50s into a qualifying position last week. And this week's workout is a 14-minute AMRAP of 15 toes to bar, 10 box jump overs, and 5 deadlifts at 315. Pretty big grinder. Those are heavy deads. You're doing 40 to 50 deadlifts in this workout at 315 pounds. 150 toes to bar if you can get upwards of 10 rounds. So we've already run it once. We had an okay score. We're going to run it again tomorrow and see if we can't get something better. I think we can. We just have to go a little faster. And that is the qualifier update. We're in qualifying position with our partner, so that's all that matters. And then finally, last week we played Centennial, the home course again, disc golf. Starting to get a better feel for the discs that are in my bag right now, which is a pretty new bag this year. Tied an all-time best, right? Even par for the course. I think it's 41 is even par for the 12-hole course at Centennial. And yeah, I really should shoot under par for as much disc golf as I played in the last couple years, but I had taken a week off. We were trying some things out. We're trying to develop a forehand. It is awesome that I have a really, really good 12-hole course that sits just a half a mile away in the park next to my neighborhood. It's great to go play. It was a beautiful day for disc golf. We almost aced a hole that I've never aced before. Well, of course I've never aced. We almost aced a hole that I usually 3. So, I think at this point, actually, this past week, the 12 holes on this course, I have now officially birdied every single hole on the course. Right? So, um, I know I'm capable of doing that, right? I just have to do it all in the same round. And that is, that's for those of you that can relate and play normal golf, you go out to your home course or the one that's closest to you or whatever the country club you're a part of. You've probably birdied most of the holes or parred most of the holes, right? It's just how many of those can you do on the same day to put together that great round? That's our goal, sort of the struggle right now on this golf course. Next couple weeks, we're going to be playing the best courses in Iowa or the best courses in Des Moines. We're going to go play Grandview, Pickard, and Ewing the next 3 weekends out. And those courses are long. They're long and hard, baby. And take that as you will. Another 30 minutes of the Snapped episode, the Snap podcast. Thank you for joining me. Again, TylerCluver.com. The TKG training is about to be revamped in a serious way. There's going to be multiple tracks on there, multiple options, warm up, cool down every single day. It's getting a huge facelift. I've been putting a lot of work in on the back end so that I can start putting out a better product on that. And we're going to be doing that soon. So we will talk to you guys next week. Thanks for being here. Till then, peace.